for the virtual machines, so to create a virtual machine on the Azure platform, we need to have something called as Azure subscription. So if you don't have the subscription, then the other option is you can use Microsoft Sandbox. So that also provide you the features, certain features. So I'm going to use, I have created one free account. So let me use that free account, and then I can show you. Okay. Uh, Okay, before I go into that, let me show you something, the basics of the uh, virtualization. What is virtualization? Okay, so uh, so what is Azure virtualization? So first you understand how we are going to create the virtual machines. So the concept behind it is shown in the following slides. So this is the process uh, when we are selecting the RAM, we are selecting the hardware, and this thing is called as besides RAM is called as hypervisor. Okay, okay. So hypervisor is the thing. This is something software kind of thing. So which helps us to use single physical server, and virtual machine. I will ask you a question later based on this discussion. So you carefully watch this presentation. So this is the hypervisor. Next is the VM we are going to install. So this is the physical space, physical server. So if you anybody from you happen to see the servers in the physical location on premises, the server looks something like this. So individual rack has separate machines. Okay, so each rack is one physical server. Okay, so we have different racks on this left and right. So when where we have to place the virtual machines, when suppose the request will come, how we have to add on the particular rack. So that is controlled by the something called as orchestrator. So orchestrator, users, if you see on the left hand side, user will configure the request. So that is what I am going to show you later, how we are going to request for the configuration on the Azure portal. So this P, in the form of P, you can see I'm going to send API, and this request goes to orchestrator, and then orchestrator will send it internally to the software called as fabric controller. Fabric controller will decide which rack is available for VM to be installed. So he will pick up the particular rack, and then see, now user has input through some web tools. They have input their requirements. That requirement goes into the portal in the form of API, and then orchestrator sends the particular configuration, and then this virtual machine is going to be created. This, after creation of this virtual machine, which rack is available, this is the job of the fabric controller to decide, and then it will pick up the rack and send to the particular rack on the physical server. So see, after this the virtual machine is ready and will be available to the user as well. So now the user who has requested, he can see that virtual machine, okay, on his screen as well. He will be going to RDP and see the virtual machine on his on system. So this is the whole concept of virtualization. Okay, so now let's proceed with creating this virtual machine. So this is the URL. Let me share with you. Can you see the browser?
No, me.
Okay.
No.
Okay, wait. Okay. Can you see my screen?
Yes, Amit can see now.
Yes.
Okay, so portal.azure.com is the URL. After I go in, I enter my credentials. Sorry. I log. Okay, this is the representation of sandbox. Okay, this is one method. Second method is to use your free account. So this technique is called a sandbox. So I am using Microsoft Sandbox. So here I will have certain privileges which I can try. Suppose I have one app. uh, I think I cannot create with this. I have very limited access, so better I will show you the other option. uh, okay, let me log out and sign sign in with my other account which has more access. So this, the first one that I showed you, is called the sandbox. Here I can use the things, but only the limited things I can use. So next is, Okay, now I'm there inside the Azure portal. So now I'm going to create the virtual machine. So I have two options. One, I can select directly from here, or I can also search virtual machine and then add a virtual machine. So the first thing is I need to assign something. Every resource, virtual machine is something called as resource. When I create the resource, I need to create the resource group before that. So I name this as demo group 1. So it will show if the name is available or not. If it is not available, you have to choose other name. If you can see, the tick sign is there, tick mark is there, so which means this thing is available. I can safely use this name for the resource group. Next is the VM name. So I call this as, let's say, demo VM, so which is also available, tick is there. So now I have to select the location. So I'll go with the default location which is coming, so which is East US. I want to create this virtual machine in the East US region. uh, so next thing is, it is asking me to select which availability option I want, whether it should be in the availability set or the zone. So remember I discussed something like geo distribution, so this is related to that. So let's say I choose the availability zone, then I have to choose the which zone I have to replicate the data. So if it is two zones, so then I have to select two, right? So now what is going to do is, whatever VM I am going to create, it is also going to copy it to some other region as well. Okay, to other zone. Okay, so if you don't want to use this option, then you can go ahead with availability set. Okay, next is the image, whether I am going to use the Ubuntu server, which is the Linux image. Otherwise I can choose the Windows also. So we have different options, we can select anything. So let me go with the latest Windows server, because all of you are familiar with the Windows environment. So let me choose the Windows version. So now it is asking me to select the GB. Okay, and it is giving me the prices also. So if I want to select, so these are the different prices. So if I don't want, I want to go with default, I can go with the default as well. Okay, so I here I'm going to choose the prices also. If I want to choose prices, it will give me the price also selection. So which model, which tier. So I'm not going to use the different model. Let me go with uh, uh, the standard model. Okay, so this is the standard SKU. Okay, with two CPUs. So remember I talked about the storage. So this is the storage. So they are going to a processing power is the two CPUs. So two CPUs, and then this two sorry 8 GB of memory, and the rent for this I'm going to pay is $137. Okay, approximately. So then I need to configure uh, the username. Let's say I give some username. Okay, this demo user is available. I need to put some password. So password has some limitation. It should be it cannot be empty value. It should be between 12 and 123 characters long. So I give some password. So it is saying that it should be 12 characters. Okay. Okay. Next, you see that it is giving me by default the RDP access as well. That port is open. Allow selected ports. So it is giving me the that selection option. Okay. So all of you may be knowing that if I have to run some website, that website mostly listen on which port. Uh, it either runs on HTTP or HTTPS, right? So we have to use this option as well if we want our website. So RDP will only open the port for remote desktop. I also want this port to be enabled as well. And then next is, would you like to use existing Windows server license? Suppose my company already have the license for the Windows. I want to save some cost, so I can use that existing license. So if I don't want to use the existing license, then I can select no. Okay, in my case, I'm a normal user. I'm not using the company account to log in. So I'm using no option. I don't have the next is disk. Which disk OS type you want? Yeah, one is SSD. SSD is the fastest premium SSD. So the other two options are standard. Currently, because this is I'm creating for demo purpose, let me select the standard HDD model. Okay. So if you see ultra disk compatibility, yeah, this option is not available in case of standard. If I choose premium SSD, then also is not available. So next is uh, my encryption at rest. So what is this? Meaning whatever data I want to store on this virtual machine, it should be safe and encrypted at rest. So suppose I am not using that data and somebody attacks on my virtual machine, it should be always encrypted data, right? Next is suppose I want to use the managed disk. I can enable the managed disk. Managed disk means uh, if I don't want to maintain the hard disk myself, I want Azure to maintain. So then I will select the option as yes. So cloud service provider will use the feature and he will manage on my behalf. Next is networking. So see, I'm creating the virtual machine and on the background, these things are also getting created because without virtual network, I cannot host my virtual machine on the internet. So I need to create it gets automatically created. So that is mandatory step. Okay. So accelerated option is default in my case because I am using the free subscription. So in my case it is disabled. Load balancing I can enable or disable, but because this is demo, I'm not going to use the load balancer in this case. So I choose the option as no. Next is management. So this enable basic plan for free. So all these things I keep. Suppose identity is off. This is for the authentication and authorization purpose. Auto shutdown is off, means I have to shut down. If I have to shut down the machine, I will shut down myself. Backup if I want to configure or not, this also is available. So OS orchestration patches will be installed by OS. So these things can be enabled or I want manual patching, then I have to install manual patch. So what I keep the default, I don't change anything. Then advanced VM generation, if it is generation 1 or 2, I keep everything as default. Tags is basically for the environment, whatever environment I want to select. uh, Validation field, required information is missing. uh, okay, so availability set I cannot choose, because I'm using the free subscription. Sometimes I cannot get all the things of my own choice. So it is giving, now it is going to be created, and it is giving me the, it will take some time. So I can review and hit on the create. Once everything is ready, I will review. So validation has passed. So it is giving me the, is asking me to review. So I have used this subscription. I have used this resource group. I kept the name as demo win VM. Location, I did not replicate it, so I used only one zone. I used Windows Server 2019. I enabled 2 ports. Okay, so I am done. Next, I hit on create. So this will take around 5 minutes, not 5 minutes, less than 5 minutes. So you can see that my virtual machine will be ready within minutes. Previously, if we talk about 2 years back, you have to hire some virtual. Oh, it's done. It's almost done. So previously, if we have to, uh, uh, if I want a physical server, I want a virtual machine on that physical server, then I have to pay a lot of cost. First, I need the premises, means the building. I need the room. I need the server room, which should be properly air conditioned. And then I have to create the machine. For that I need to do something called as using the hypervisor. I have to use, as I showed you in the uh, virtualization. So that thing I have to do, like if I want one machine on my physical server or multiple machines. So depending upon that I will use hypervisor, but that is a costly affair. But here you see, I want to see how this virtual machine works. With my free subscription, I am able to do all these things. So I can test it. Uh, Later, I want to use the virtual machine or I don't want to use, I can delete that virtual machine as well. So within a fraction of minutes, I can create the virtual machine and I can delete as well. So within minutes, my virtual machine is ready. Okay. So once our virtual machine is ready, see, my virtual machine is ready. Now I go to resources. So now I'm going to RDP. So I'll select connect RDP. Okay. So RDP port is 3389. So it has downloaded the RDP connection. So I go with more choices. I use different. Okay, it is asking me to the accept certificate. I don't want to view. I say don't ask me again. See, I can now logged in as RDP user, and if I go inside, it is same environment which you see on your operating system on your local computer as well. So if you want, you can see the what are the hard disk capacity and all those things. Okay, this is my local IAS server. I have to configure the server if I want to install, but in today's session I'm not going to cover that one. Maybe it will be too high level for you for today's session. So we are done with the creation of the virtual machine. So if you want to see hard disk and other space, so you can click my PC. So we have C drive 126 GB and D drive, which is the temporary storage, 14 GB, sorry 15.9 GB, out of which 14 GB is free, right? So with this I want to call it a day, but before we end the session I have something for you, and let me stop sharing and stop recording.